Special guest. Which one's which? No,
I don't know.
No offense, Rita, but
I take no offense.
I think this little puppy is a special guest.
So we're joined tonight by Amy's new addition to her family, Joey.
Literally got her 5 hours ago. So she had to make a little appearance. If you go on our Facebook and our Instagram, you can see I put an adorable picture of her hosting and talking into the microphone. So you have to go see. Hopefully she doesn't pee on Danielle's table. But she's 8 weeks old. So yeah, this is Joey.
Don't know if she has much to help us in our discussion today, but she is awfully cute. And don't we all remember, I'm gonna segue this way. Don't we remember bringing our brand new babies home and how cute they were? We want to share And then they started school, and you had to deal with everybody else's children and everybody else's parenting and all of that and the influences it had on your kids and stuff. So that's kind of what we're going to cover tonight. We wish that they stayed little and non-influential, and we could control every environment, but we cannot. And
We cannot.
So tonight our topic is school these days. So we're going to cover quite a bit of topics, but first, introduce yourself. I'm going to take this down. Tell us who you are.
Trying to hide.
Tell us who you are, who you have at home, and a little bit of your background.
So
As I poke you with this.
right, I am Rita. I am a 4-9 math, science, language arts teacher. Currently stay-at-home mom to 3 lovelies. I have Tommy, who's 6. Oliver, who's going to turn 4 in 10 days. Oh, I'm not ready for the 4-year-old stage.
Oh, that's right. You have my
Yes.
5 that were born all in the same week.
Yes,
we
that's
won't
right.
go there.
We won't go there. We do. And then I have a 2.5-year-old Cora. So it's been a lot of fun. Being a stay-at-home mom changes things, definitely. And then I've also now come back into subbing. So that also is kind of giving me a whole new perspective.
Oh, yeah. Because
From like when I graduated. I mean, gosh, and that's been over 10 years ago. And I subbed then, and then I did full-time teaching, and now I'm subbing again. And it's so different from what it was even 10 years ago.
and teaching as a now parent who has one child in school
Yeah.
definitely has a different dynamic
It does,
and a different
for
look on
sure.
it.
For sure. So, I mean, it's been a learning experience, and knowing things are different, and there's problems that we need to address, and when he gets upset at school and things are, very challenging, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a new thing to learn, and it's been a great experience for everyone in our family, but as the next 2 come, I'm worried.
Yeah, I would agree. And he's in kindergarten, correct?
Yes, he's kindergarten.
Okay,
Yep.
so
And then we have one starting preschool, so.
Perfect. And then I have a 1st grader and a 5th grader, so I'm experiencing middle school.
Oh, man.
It's a whole different world.
It is.
I was on a
especially as
field
teacher.
trip with my 3rd grader today, and we happened to be like right outside the middle school looking at something historical in the city. And all the middle schoolers were like shouting from recess, like not obscene things, but I was kind of like,
Not okay
really?
things either.
Like,
Yep.
that's only a couple years away.
When they say that,
Yeah.
often I remember saying, like, the controversy of, like, when somebody turns 18, how do you know they're, like, ready to smoke or ready to leave home and all those things? And you're like, how's it an age? No one is ready for the summer between 4th and 5th grade. Like,
No one.
what happens? Like, they don't mature enough. They don't grow enough for that. And I don't either. Like, totally different world. The children, the parenting, like, literally it's all dropped on them.
And
Yeah.
from boy to girl, you're going to see an even bigger difference. So, because your girl is 1st, wait till Carter's going from 4th to 5th grade.
Oh.
Because that's going to be an even different, completely different experience too.
I bet.
And that's the teacher's perspective.
Well, and I guess that's something, this isn't like on the agenda.
Not at
but
all. We're not even touched the
We haven't
agenda
gotten
yet.
the agenda yet,
but
guys. Sorry.
when I was in school, elementary school went till 6th grade.
Yep.
And then we had middle school, it was 7 and 8. And
Yeah.
so I remember like going from 6th to 7th, and it was like a big deal. And I'm like, whoa, that's going to happen 2 years sooner. Ooh,
Yeah, and so
feels kind of
Rita and I both attended Copley and went through Copley schools, and that's where our children will go as well.
But I taught in a district that was to 6th grade.
Really?
Yeah. So, and then I had 7-12. Not just 7-8, I had 7-12.
That is insane.
All in one building.
So Copley schools, the way they are, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th are in the same building. They literally are on other sides of
Yes,
the building,
they are.
and I don't really think that they know each other exist except for bus. Sometimes
Yep,
they cross
that's
each
it.
other for
That's about
art,
right.
but that's about it. Which is nice, but then also I remember, so she's a year above me.
Yep.
And I was friends with majority of people a year to 2 years older than me, just because of activities or people that lived in the neighborhood and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's just how it worked. I still remember though that transition from 6th to 7th grade, from one side of the building to the other. Even though I knew a lot of them, it was like, oh, this is all new again. It was like I was entering a whole different.
You went through it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
For 2 years and then to go to the high school.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
All right, so let's get started. Kind of what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I do want to drop. I want to call it a disclaimer, maybe. I seem to always be the one that says this. So some of today's topics may be button pushers, may cause opinions. We are very neutral in this. We're just going to discuss it. But if you have something you want to ask, please voice your opinions. We're going to talk about things that may bring on strong opinions, may bring up some subjects that right now we are dealing with in society that aren't very pleasant. So please leave comments, but be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to say that.
Yeah, and we're going
all
to start
adults.
lighter
Yeah.
and then go a little deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I
for
just
sure.
want to give that disclaimer right now.
Yeah. So on the light side is the topic of what are the things that our kids are and are not learning that we learned when, or didn't learn when we were in school. So
What age are you have second? What grade did you have?
first and third grade.
Okay.
Okay, so you being a teacher is going to kind of give us a broad, because we are only really able to talk those first couple of years, which are when we learn the basics of school.
Right. And that is so drastically different than what it was. When you get into the big spectrum, you have, I know you guys have on your list, you had like the things with Common Core, you had things with like cursive writing. And what's interesting is there's just been a new bill with Ohio that's passed. Cursive's coming back.
My
I
kid,
did
my
hear.
third
And I'm
grader has
excited.
been learning it. So everyone had talked about it being gone, but then I've seen homework coming home.
And I'm excited about that. I'm glad to see that that's coming back. I'm glad to see that those things are.
How long was the gap? Because Olivia cannot read or write cursive besides her
Right.
name, and she's in 5th grade.
Right. So I think, and this is part because I'm 4'9". I'm not the elementary.
Okay.
So that I see some
Which
of
is
it
good.
now.
You'll be able to give us the other
Yeah.
side.
So
Funny because there's going to be this gap of kids.
yeah.
This like little group, like they'll need to be their own generation that don't know cursive.
Yep.
Well,
and I think it was like a 5-year gap.
which is, Olivia's in 5th grade. She has no, so I taught her how to write her name because I wanted her to be able to sign her name.
Right.
But if I write, and I face it, we don't use cursive often.
I
don't.
only use cursive.
Okay,
So
so
I'm one of those really rare few that
I
use my
I
cursive.
use a hybrid. I've made my own writing.
I'm
Like it's
probably
not printing
closer,
and
if
it's
I'm
not
gonna be honest,
cursive.
I'm probably closer to the hybrid myself, but
Yeah.
I use more cursive than I
So
do.
I
anything
am
else.
probably 5% cursive, but when I am using cursive, it's when I'm in a hurry, which is typically when I'm making like to-do lists
Mhm.
or like something quick, which is what I need Olivia to read. And she'll look at it and go, "Mom, I can't read that."
Yeah.
Has no idea.
She can usually tell me the first letter of the word because for the most part that is the full letter. But other than that, she can't read it or write it.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with this 4 to 5 year gap? I worked at the HR hospital, and I'm going to tell you, I was the youngest on the director team, and everybody was 5 to 6.
Yep.
What about if they all wrote cursive? Like, how would I get that job position?
Yeah.
How would I follow up? So we're going to start seeing how it will affect in the future.
So what about typing though? So people like they're not teaching typing because you're on a computer so much they don't think you need to learn it because it just kind of becomes innate.
Yeah.
Right. So
But then can you type properly?
So
It
here's
doesn't matter.
One of the things that's going to be interesting with the cursive factor, I'm wondering, especially since Ohio is bringing it back as a mandatory thing, that gap, are they going to fix it?
Well, and that's what I'm curious
That's what
about.
I'm
Where are you going to
wondering where
put
that's
that
gonna
then?
happen.
Because your lesson plans are so laid out now. How are you just going to add a whole way of writing
Well, I think
right
that's
back in
going to
it.
become part of the writing curriculum.
in the language arts department?
Like with the
That makes
typing
sense.
part, Revere's been 1-to-1 for a couple of years now, which is one computer for every student. Copley's going that way next year. Akron is there already. So with that typing factor, it's going to already be there. It's going to be something that's going to happen. It's the skills are there. Like Tommy right now has computer 1 day a week. Now,
They already have it in there.
it's already
But
part
they
of
have
their
computer
class.
classes,
that
but
works
are they
on-
like
yes.
teaching them to put their fingers on the right
Mhm.
keys?
Oh yeah, they'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
required to
Yep.
take typing
Yeah.
as well.
And like what's funny is, so my godfather and his wife went for Grandparents' Day because they're kind of like pseudo grandparents. My husband's don't live in town. My mom was in one of her crazy trips.
Her mother
Sorry,
travels a lot.
Mom.
I watch her dogs.
Yep, sorry, Mom. That's just how it goes. So when that happened, they're not completely computer skilled, and my son is 6 and was like, she goes, how can you do so much typing already?
It's
How can he
amazing.
do? She's like, his friend couldn't figure something out, and he's just over there helping him. I mean, that's the skills they're giving
Well,
them already.
And kind of to give you a glance back then, so I'm 33. I think we're all generally around the same age. I don't know how old you are, actually.
I'm 34.
I did. I was like, I really don't know. So we're all around the general age. I can remember like it was yesterday, 4th grade, Mr. Bonk, Arrowhead. We were the first classroom because we did like a school store and raised money. We were the first classroom to have 2 computers in our classroom.
Fancy.
4th grade. Like, I remember this was a huge deal.
And you had like Oregon Trail on
We had
it.
him for 4th grade. We had 2
So
computers.
he must have changed because I had him for 3rd.
Yeah.
So he must have changed the
He
following
did.
year.
He did. He went to 3rd, 4th, and then left and became a principal.
Right.
So I
And
remember.
did that computer have Oregon Trail, and was it like
Yes.
black and green?
And it was black and green.
Yes.
So we're
You
talking,
can't go
that
wrong with
was
that.
only,
Sorry.
how old are you in 4th grade? 10?
9.
9? So we're talking, come on, math for 34 minus 9 off the top of your head. 26 years, and now every student has a computer to them, which that isn't the big deal. But you're right. Like, they're growing up. I got my first phone when I was 17 because I had a driver's license, and it was like, I used to call it my refrigerator, my microwave, and my oven in one because it was gigantic.
And I had one even.
I mean, our
bigger than
phones are
that.
still large.
Well,
When
now
they
they're
come back
large
to be
because we
large.
want
Yeah.
them large. This was large because the battery pack was like this big. But I remember being at that age trying to figure this out. When I got the iPad, and I believe that I can work for the most part, several things. I had to hand this to my 7-year-old and go, "Can you set this up?" And he could
That's
do
fantastic.
it. But it's a different. He's not even in 4th grade yet. But when I was in 4th grade and got that computer, it was so new, and it was new into that world that we didn't know. The generation coming up, even if they're not on technology and they're not on video games, their brain is like built to just know how to do this because of how society has been.
Yeah.
Like my 2-year-old.
Yeah.
She can take my phone and find Elmo.
Exactly. So
So-
there has been dramatic changes.
Yeah. So another thing that's like different these days, I think the most of this soft topic, it's the hottest topic of the soft topics, is Common Core math.
Okay, so we're gonna go there. Okay.
Oh no.
So
This is
Yeah.
exciting.
Google is my best
So
friend.
my guess, am I guessing correctly that you hate it? Because I love it.
here's where I'm
And a lot of
really
people think I'm crazy.
torn. No, I don't think you're crazy at all. Okay. So my husband and I have had this great debate about Common Core math because he's like, it's a great thing for our kids to get them to think out of the normal topic.
Can
of
we
math.
explain for 2 seconds, because it took me
Sure.
a long time, for parents who might be tuning in, because there's several on, because some people just think it's this confusing math that nobody can figure out, which is very true. But there is
Not
actually
Not true.
a reason behind it. Something with, we taught kids to memorize, and this actually teaches kids to solve
It
problems,
teaches them
something
to-
like that.
It teaches them to understand numbers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's going to take you way further with mental math and being able to do math in a grocery store and all the
Yes.
things that, like, the real ways you actually do need math in life. And it's teaching you how to understand numbers, so you don't need to, like, carry the 1 and, you know, I don't even remember how to do long division and stuff, but, like, it just helps you
Olivia brings home her
understand
homework.
humor.
I help her with it. I'm like, here's the answer. You figure out everything in the middle. Because I'm like, they have to show so much work. It's
They
like
do.
pages and pages of work that I'm like, here's your answer.
So what does the teacher think?
Yeah.
So
please.
I am on both sides of this because there are things that the Common Core math, where you're talking about showing them the real world aspect of it,
Yeah.
is great, and I'm all for it. I think it's going to do a lot of good for our students. The problem is that we're also missing that memorization part that we actually still need.
I think it's very important.
I think we need both, and I think there needs to be a better integration of the two, because while I can see the perspective of helping students to think outside the box and to be able to explain how they got there,
Mm-hmm.
I also think they need to be able to know how to do the math part of it, and that doesn't happen enough. Like, they need to be able to do the actual problem, the facts.
Yeah, I know that my sons still do, like, math tests with
Right.
the basic facts.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen them start to learn how to do it the old way. It's just, at least in our school, it's minimized.
Yeah.
But it might not be
And
that way in every school.
I would agree.
And I would like to see them do a little bit more with it. I mean, my kindergartner is doing geometry right now. He's in kindergarten.
But
And
that's
I
good.
Well, it's great.
Yeah.
But think about where we were in kindergarten.
Exactly.
You know what
and
I mean?
how much
That's
more
the
can you shove into them? And then what are you?
Well,
I'm not even going to go into that because we're going to go into it later. But some kids just can't keep up.
So, and here's
And
the
you're
thing.
throwing more and more at them.
Kindergarten, and this is something I know we were going to cover, but with kindergarten, you have to think about those kids. Some of them didn't go to preschool. This is their
They're on a different level.
first true experience in an educational program. And you're expecting them to sit all day long and focus on something that they've never been exposed to. They have no understanding or experience with. How do you do that? That's really hard.
Yeah.
There's a question for me. Oh no. It's about my puppy.
Something about you cut them off on purpose.
I don't know what she's looking at. I see complete screens on both. On
No,
every.
not that.
Oh.
Just talking about whatever you said.
Do I cut him off on purpose?
Cindy, could you
So
put
much
it right-
space next
To D, which makes it sound like it's a visual thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm D. I'm not sure. On our side, all screens look good. Cindy, please clarify what page you're on and what you're seeing. So yeah, no, and I agree with that sitting all day and all of that. And I think that is a challenge. I feel like you've got parents that are the stay-at-home and want to keep their child home as long as possible, so they don't want to do the preschool. And in my opinion, and let me say my kids did both go to preschool, but in my opinion, if I was that parent, I feel like I could have covered the let's learn your alphabet, let's learn your colors, and sent you right to kindergarten. If I would have been in that position, I would have been able to handle that. I think a lot of parents take that, and so then you have this student that has been taught by their parents or taught individually, put in a classroom with a bunch of people and told, look at the whiteboard, let's go.
Yeah. Well, for the sake of all the conversations we want to get to, let's move on to the topic of homework.
Well, and that's what I wanted to segue into, and I would like, because this is where my opinion, like Amy likes to go.
Opinions.
Opinion, whatever. Here it is. I am not good at Common Core. I try very hard to help my children be successful at school. I send them well rested, happily to school. You have them for 8 hours, or some, because some kids do after school programs, before school programs. Then you send me home paperwork with this Common Core, and I'm like, you just have my kid all day. Why do I have to learn? So I'm on Google trying to figure out Common Core to do their homework.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And I'm like, no, if I was going to do this, I would homeschool her, which probably would never work out. But you get my point. Like, if you're going to change all of the learning where I have to Google and relearn, please don't send homework home. So let's segment into.
So is homework too much nowadays? I think I hear a lot about people saying
I think
the
it's
homework's
a big
too much.
topic.
I think it's also interesting because I don't feel currently that my kids have too much homework. But I've had parents in my kids' class think that homework was too much. So that's been interesting for me. I'm like, oh, is my kid not bringing it home?
Yeah.
It just so happens that most of their homework is math, and my kids are just very good at math.
Yeah.
Not trying to like toot my own horn, but I'll get mine later when it's not math and they need to like work harder at it. So they can do it pretty quickly. And then their reading time they do when they go to bed. So it doesn't feel like an interruption to my day. So I haven't yet experienced feeling like it's too much, but I know
It's coming.
a lot of people, it's coming, and that a lot of people feel like it is.
Well, and kind of to stay on that too, my kids both struggle with math. So that's been a stressor, but also I want to, touch on like the amount that is being sent home too, and maybe why. Like, can you please give me a reason to take me off of this anger spell of why you send so much homework home?
So here's what my philosophy was on homework.
As a teacher or as a
teacher.
parent?
As a teacher.
This is teacher mode, and I'll switch to parent in a second.
We need to get her a hat.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, for real.
So with teacher mode, my big thing I would do is I would create a homework quote unquote packet that went home at the beginning of the lesson. And they had from the time we started the lesson to the time we ended the lesson to complete it. I didn't need to see it until folder check day.
Okay.
And if they had questions,
I know.
it worked.
I know.
And it was easy and it helped, and that was great for my kids. They, as we were going through the lesson, if they had questions about it, they could bring it back to me while we're in the process of the lesson. Or if they wanted to work ahead, they could. Or say they had sporting events, because I taught 9th grade science for quite a few years, and a lot of them had sports or other extracurricular things going on. So it gave them the chance, hey, Monday I don't have practice. Monday I don't have to do anything. I can get all my homework done for science that day, and then I'm good to go for the rest of the week.
And I think that that's also good because that helps with the time management. I know, okay, it's Monday. This packet's due on Friday, but I have something Wednesday and Thursday. That means
So we're
on
gonna
Monday,
do it Monday and Tuesday.
And I think that is so very important.
Well, and that's what the real world is like.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and
what college is like. College
that's why I
doesn't
set it
say,
up that
hey,
way.
turn this in tomorrow. No, you have your syllabus,
Yep.
and you know when everything's scheduled out months. Now that's too much for a kindergartner or third grader.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's how I ran my class. I
Yeah.
ran my class as a high school class that was set up to guide them for college
and that's what it should be.
real life situations. Because
Yeah.
the problem's a loose word here. Problem is that we're setting many kids up to be for college, except that not everyone's meant for college.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
all. We don't even have that on
We
the
don't even
syllabus
have that
for
problem
tonight.
for me. Because when
I think that should be its whole own episode. We'll invite you back for it.
I'll be back because this is a big
Yeah.
big thing for me. I love
And I feel like the whole
Akron.
gear
It's been-
shift is teachers are constantly saying, well, you're going to go to college. You need the SAT. You need the ACT. You're going to go. You are
So-
100% right.
I love that Akron is working towards making. They have these things called academies now that are helping students understand that not everyone is meant for college and that there are so many other options that they can go do. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that. And the person who actually took my place today at where I was is working on a thing with NASA, and they're doing like airplanes and building them out of cardboard. And I'm like, hello, let's talk about the real world application there that they're learning something.
Yeah.
They may not get to college, but you know what? That's awesome for them.
That is
Yeah.
Those
great.
are skills that they will be able to apply in a real world job.
Yeah.
Sorry to take us off topic.
No, and I
That's a great topic.
That's a great
and we'll
topic.
definitely visit it again another time.
Yeah, and so
because-
I don't want to go too much on it, but I do think that kids that are going to college, I don't think they're properly prepared enough.
Correct.
And children who maybe college just isn't for them are
Prepared at
overly
all.
prepared
Yep.
because they don't need, and then they feel that guilt and that shame because they're not going to college because
Yeah.
they had all of this that they were supposed to be prepping for and all that. And and I can speak on my little brother in that case. He was told his whole life, college isn't an option, college isn't an option, college isn't an option. I went to college. I was the first in generations, got him all set up. He went for 6 months and was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And now years later, like, he has a great skill and he is successful.
Yeah.
And so,
So,
So-
back on topic.
Yeah. So
Next.
one of my problems with homework, and it's because of kids I've seen that are just kids I've met through different organizations I'm a part of or through family, is this idea that homework does sometimes depend so much on the parents.
Exactly.
And that then it
Absolutely.
becomes almost unfair. Like when it's like getting your supplies. And so my son just he's in 3rd grade and he had his first like big project, a STEM project. And it caused tears and anxiety.
Yes.
And I thought that was just because my son does struggle with anxiety. That's a very real thing. But then I was on this field trip today talking to other parents, and I'm like, they're all crying at home. Like, all the kids are crying at home, and it's super stressful. But that aside, like, what about the kids who don't have the parent that's going to do it with them? Because
Right.
my husband led this STEM project from beginning to end, and my son did all the things. He did all the tests, but, like, we had to buy the materials. We had to help him come up with the idea. What about if they don't have that parent there to do it, and then now they're set behind?
well, and
That's-
Please
Can't-
help me on this one.
Open that can of worms,
well,
right?
and that's a
Well-
struggle. That's a major struggle. And I can tell you that this school year, like, I have to now get them off, and then I got another one coming an hour after on the bus and cooking dinner and to sit down. And there are times where Olivia and I just cry, and then I'm like, put the homework away. There have been times I've sent her to school. We are not doing the homework. Like, we're just not doing it. I would.
How does she handle that?
So, very poorly because she knows she's going to get in trouble. She is so afraid to get in trouble, but then I will be like, we just can't. Like, this is too much. I can't figure this out. I don't know how to do this. We have so much other stuff. And she, now in middle school, there are times where she'll have 2 to 2.5 hours of homework easy.
Whoa.
She's getting home at 3:30. And we just can't do it. And I've done it 3 times this school year. And then she's hysterical usually because she's my kid that can't ever get in trouble.
So here's what's funny about that for me, because back to I gave it at the beginning of the lesson, it's due at the end of the lesson. I'm never grading it for accuracy. Did you do it? Great. Checked it off. Moving on. Because of that anxiety.
Oh yeah,
We
it has
cannot
created a lot
put
of anxiety.
that on kids. And back to your projects. So as a 7th grade science teacher, we do science fair. Like that was a thing. Well, I'm dealing with poverty level students who are generally raising their siblings or they're working already at 7th grade. And I'm expecting them to go home and do a science fair project. Yeah, right. No way. That's not okay. And so my big thing is Akron's good about this is that they would give us the time within the curriculum to build it, to do it in class, but we're still asking them to test it at home. But 90% of the kids, based on what their idea is, can't get the materials that they need. So we try to supply that, but again, that's still, I can't do it for every kid, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because it's not part of my budget. My budget for a school year was $100. How do you supply all of this?
Anything.
Yeah,
Anything.
really,
And then
doesn't matter.
expect them to complete any assignment that I have asked in, all of that. Because it's just impossible.
Yeah, that's hard.
And I do, bringing up the anxiety of it, I think that, kind of going back a little bit to my story, I don't think that it is okay for me to constantly like, okay, Olivia, we don't have time, we can't do this, we're just not doing the homework. Because I don't want to teach my child, you can just not do it, because what's that going to teach? But the amount of anxiety that is built into that of sometimes I'm just like, we need to walk away. This isn't enough. This isn't worth it. And that's kind of the lesson I'm teaching her in that. It's not, we're just not doing your homework. But looking at those projects and when you're looking at different poverty levels and all of that, you're creating at a very young age, the difference of I can't get the material, but this person can. Or they have their parents to work on this. I have no one. Like, you're already creating that. And not that I think I'm a firm non-believer of the participation trophy. That's all I'm going to say. I don't feel that every kid needs to be fair and equal, but
it should be on their own merit, not on the
Yes.
merit of where they came from.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And when you put them in school,
Should I pick this microphone up and drop it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's appropriate.
No.
But
Where's
when
the
you
toy
put
when
that
we
in
need it?
school at such a young age, when you're comparing them and you're establishing that shame and that guilt so young, you're already setting them up.
Oh, absolutely.
Shame and guilt. I'm going to segue us to the next topic.
Perfect.
Which this is making me think we need to have like 3 more shows on all these things.
But
Because there's just so much. And I think that's a wonderful thing about this show being recorded live on Facebook is that we really hope you guys get in the comments and we'll watch those comments back as time goes on, and we'll have those conversations in the comments. So please do that.
For sure.
So what happens when you're
shame and
full
all
of
of that.
shame and you're full of guilt?
Bullying.
You get angry. You feel left out. You feel different.
Oh,
Yeah.
so let's go there because Tommy's there.
Yeah.
And
Tommy's how old?
6.
Yep.
And it's so hard for me. It'll tear me up. I'll be the first to admit it. He is the good kid.
Mm-hmm.
He is the kid who's on green every day. He's had one day this year that he was not on green, and it actually wasn't his fault. It was one of those, he got grouped in, and it just happened. And we wrote apology letters. No jokes on that.
Yeah.
So he rewrote one
Sounds like
twice.
my 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Not my 7-year-old. He's
That's my 4-year-old.
yeah,
Gonna be the
he
same
goes
way.
under.
Yeah,
That's fine.
but he is in a class of very rambunctious boys. There are 13 boys and 7 girls.
Wow.
And I love his teacher. She's amazing, but it's a first-year teacher. And it has been very hard for him because he is that structure. He is that kid who needs to be in the, he needs everything to be calm and everybody to do what's right at all times. And it's been hard for him because kids don't want to play with him anymore because he's always on green.
Yeah.
And he's always getting the blue or getting the rewards, and they're all, going home on yellow again. And
Yeah,
it's so
my
hard.
son, my 9-year-old, his name's Nathan, and he's extremely smart. And so he's in the gifted classes and doing all this stuff, but his intellect often also makes him very judgy. And we're working on it.
I'm right there with you, honey. I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always telling him, that's not your job to correct that person, or
Yep.
you're not the parent, or you're not the teacher. And like, we're working on it, but in the
Are
meantime,
you living with
He
like my body?
Right.
Like I feel like I've had
Right.
all of those conversations this week.
yes, he corrects people all the time, and
Yep.
that doesn't always make friends.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, and third grade's been a really great year, but second grade was hard. He was legit bullied. I mean, things happen on the school bus with, a kid standing up and accusing him of kissing him. And it's like,
Whoa.
yeah, it was like this whole thing, and like called him a very bad, like a derogatory name
Wow.
for that. I'm
In
like,
second grade.
second
Wow.
grade. Luckily our bus driver's fantastic and like reached out to me and was like, hey, this is what happened. She did an awesome job. So I'm really happy with how the school handled it. But this
good.
became a thing all year long. This bully was just like convincing the whole class not to be his friend and like spreading rumors about him. I'm like, second grade.
Yeah.
And so I had a conversation with my son one night that literally like broke my heart, because he just said something like, well, other kids don't think I'm cool.
Yep.
And I was like, is that important to you? And I tried to like ask it really calm and cool and collected, because like I didn't
Right.
want to lead the answer. I was just like, hey, is that important to you? Do you want to be cool? And he said, no, I don't need to be cool, but I just wish people would like me sometimes.
Yep. I've had that similar conversation.
And like for like about 10 seconds I wanted to homeschool him, and then that was gone. But it was like oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you and so sad all in the same moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there with you. Had
Yeah.
similar things. He had some really good friends at the beginning of the year now that will talk or play with him. And the one day threw tons of mulch at him at recess. And I'm like, he came home, it was kind of wintry time, came home and had his hat covered in mulch. And I'm like, what happened? He goes, well, so-and-so who used to play with me doesn't like me now, and so he got mad at me because I was playing with somebody else, and so he threw stuff at me. And I'm like, you're in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Ah.
get
My kids have both been punched on the school bus. They've been like
It's scary.
all kinds of things. And on some levels, it's like, okay, how much of this is, I'm going to say kids being kids, and I don't agree with that statement at all.
Right.
But like, how much of it is that, and how much of it is it that it changed? But I think back to elementary school, and I don't remember any of that. I never witnessed it for other people. I never saw things that rough.
Well, and I can, so I'm speaking from two different age levels as well. So, Olivia, are you okay down there?
I missed my mouth with the
Amy's
wine.
struggling too. So my Olivia,
That was an accident.
she is in 5th grade and she's 11, and so she does have a processing reading disorder and a processing math disorder. Or it's not math, there's another term for it. Anyways, and Rita walked with me through this for quite some time.
We did.
We started Olivia in kindergarten because she's extremely social and everything. She fit in with everyone. She was great, and it was a good start. Then at the end of kindergarten, we were not even like registering reading, and then we went into 1st grade, and she did. No, at that point, I pulled her out and put her in a private school because I knew something was wrong. But she was too young to test, and nobody was and I was like, you know what? Maybe she needs extra time.
Too young to test.
Maybe she needs some extra time. And this is going to go right into our next.
Yep.
But maybe she's too young, because I did start her at 5. But my daughter is very outgoing and very social, so nobody would believe that there was something not clicking. Like she wasn't, I don't want to say this term, not smart enough. She wasn't on their level of where they were. How do I want to word that?
So it's a processing disorder, and
Yeah.
it's just that no one would believe that she
could cover it up very well.
That's Oliver,
That was exactly what it was.
and I
So-
see it at 4.
So I knew that she had something. I just didn't understand what it was because I didn't have the experience. And so she went through 1st grade in this private school, and that is when she started to notice that something was different. She wasn't on their level, and so then she started self-internalizing like the confidence that I'm dumb and I don't keep up and all that stuff. So then we did bounce her back to Copley schools, and we ran her through 1st grade again. So I essentially held her back a year to give her that year just in case. And then finally, Copley was on board and tested her. No. We worked with counselors for a year and then finally got her tested. But the point, right around that time, I had this child who was extremely social, extremely friendly, having all these friends, to kids would literally like not sit with her at lunch because she couldn't read. They wouldn't talk to her, all these things. So Olivia went through like extreme bullying first, second, and third grade.
Yep.
Finally, in fourth grade, I feel like she just kind of got used to being the kid at school. At church, she has amazing friends, but at school, she didn't have the friends. And, I mean, the things that they would call her and the names and how she would shut herself down and all of that.
I remember it.
Because she felt like she was the not smart child.
That's
But
so
then she
sad.
would cover it up. So then kids started to make fun of her of, you're faking it. You're faking it because you can act and you can do all these things. Yes, she's always had that creative ability, but on paper, she couldn't do it. So now we're in fifth grade, and going through the situation that we just went through. Olivia has watched me in 31, like with my team, encouraging and celebrating and rewarding, and she has seen this show, and she has seen everything that I do with teaching in the women's group. So now she's like, I don't care if anybody likes me. But now she's getting bullied because she will stand up for the kids that are getting bullied because she was there.
She's
So
on every
now-
aspect of it all.
Yeah.
So now she gets bullied in a different way because she's now you're too good, and why are you that person's friend? So now
So how do you teach her to deal with this? What's your advice to her? And how did that advice change from first grade to fifth grade?
In first grade, I remember, and I still tell her this often, this is where I tear up. She would come home constantly crying and say, I can't read like them. I'm not that smart. I'm not going to be anything. And I would look at her, I still do this now, and I say, but can they dance as good as you can?
Yep.
Can they sing the way you
Right.
can? Can they improv like you? Because if anybody did not see her online dating video,
Yeah, with the
Please go back
angles.
and watch it.
and so
Yeah.
what I tell
It's
her
great.
is, I'm
Which
like,
I have a comment for that for later.
we as parents can sit there and band-aid it, and I'm not a parent that likes to band-aid it, so I'll tell her, you're right, Olivia, you don't read like them, but look what God gave you.
Yep.
Like, you're gonna blow them away at those school
Yep.
dances.
Right.
You're gonna, and that has helped
And those things
tremendously.
are important, and those
Yeah.
things have a future too.
Because I think it is important as parents. You want to storm in that office.
Oh yeah.
And you want to beat up
Yep.
the kid and the parents.
Let
to
me
be
just say,
honest.
the bully that was bullying my son in second grade moved to Texas. We weren't sad about it.
Just throw a little happy
And my husband and I made some snarky comment, and my second grader at the time said, well, Mom, that's not nice. And I'm like, you're right. But I'm glad he moved to Texas.
And that's what I'm saying, by
Yeah,
the
right.
way I handle, and I'm not going to tell you I handle every situation well, but this one, I didn't want to band-aid that these kids were bad kids. Yes, they're not nice and they make fun of her, but I also didn't want her to feel like I needed to say, oh, they're wrong and don't listen to them.
Right.
But I needed her to point out her specialness. And I think that has given her the confidence that now, not that I'm happy that she sits alone every day. I mean, literally, if you've met my daughter, you will never understand this. She sits alone every single lunch because she won't go sit with the people who are making fun of these people. The people who are getting bullied do not want her to sit with them, even though they're the kids getting bullied, because then they get made fun of more because they call her this security guy because she'll stand up for him. But it also makes me proud because instead of band-aiding of, Liv, they're not right. You're smart. You've got this. Let's face this. This may be true. You're not like those people, but you got it.
Two things. One, Jillian was getting bullied many years ago, and Kate walked right onto the Case Elementary property, went to the kid, and said, take me to your parents right now. That's an option, okay?
But a lot of times the parents are 10 times worse.
Right.
True
and
statement.
worked.
They learned it from the parents.
Yeah,
So,
and-
hold on. So Lucy's got a very important question.
Yeah,
on the
I
other
don't
page,
see her
okay?
comments.
Yeah.
So she said,
I'm not seeing 'em.
here's
I'm
what
not
she
coming
said.
up here,
She
they're
said, right now, a big issue is not so much the bullying itself, but it's the fact that
Oh my God.
they're being threatened and
It's not
the
threatened,
kid is
okay.
being told to kill themselves, but the school hasn't caught them doing it.
Yeah.
So how do you guys respond to that, to Lucy? In other words, they're being bullied, but the school school hasn't caught the kid doing it, so where do you go from there?
So
Wow,
first,
yeah, that's
first I want to
interesting.
touch on the whole like the other parents thing, and I think that's sometimes. So this bully, we saw his parents at a choir concert, and like I'm not gonna say what we did or didn't witness, but just the fact that it was very clear that there was some dysfunction at home. And honestly, that gave me like a deeper compassion for the kid, and then it helped me have those conversations with my son. That sometimes, we take out our anger towards other people when we're actually angry about something at home. So sometimes meeting the other parents, it doesn't help the situation get resolved, but it helps you give compassion.
It gives you empathy to what, and this is my quote unquote religion part of this, is that having had bad experiences with even family members and that whole turn the other cheek thing, when you meet a parent and you've had a situation like that, it makes you stop and say, okay, I need to let my anger go, and I need to find a new way to help this kid.
Yes.
Because it's one of those, I may not be able to fix the problem, but maybe I can help the kid. Because maybe he's not getting it at home, or she's not getting it at home, and it's so hard in that realm.
Yeah.
So
and let's go
on Lucy's, are you going to say more about that?
go ahead.
I was going to say with Lucy's question, Lucy, it was Lucy, right?
Yes.
If she's still watching, if you could if you were comfortable chiming in about the age of the child, because I'd be curious to know that, because I haven't yet experienced something like this.
She's the same age as Olivia. She's 11. That's why I was chiming
11,
in.
these things are
so,
happening.
and that's what I can say. So just to finish a little bit of Olivia, and Lucy has an Olivia too.
Literally the same name?
Yeah.
Same age?
Yeah. When my daughter went to Spring Garden for the year, they met, and so that's how Lucy and I connected, and our Olivia's connected. And so I know a little bit of her backstory, which I'm not going to share much of it, but kind of to chime in from a totally different school, these are real issues. Like, my daughter didn't really know. I don't feel like my kids aren't open up to the public, but they're not sheltered either. Like, I have hard conversations with my kids. They watch a rated R movie, we sit down and we talk about, I don't openly, but if they see it at somebody's, we have very open discussions. So I had conversations with my child about, same sex liking each other, same marriages, suicide. We'd had these conversations. But when Olivia went to 5th grade, she thought they're only conversations that my mommy had with me and that people do. I will never forget, it was within the 2nd month of school coming home, and she had said that a little girl was cutting herself.
Oh my gosh.
And she had remembered me telling her about it, but she's like, Mom, she's in 5th grade. Like, she was so taken back, like, I know this, and I understand we talked about this, but it's happening in my school. It's happening at 11 years old, guys.
It's happening younger than that.
And probably younger. But it's happening every day. And so that's talking about that. But another part I want to talk to about what Lucy said. So that was the story of my daughter. I have Carter, who is 7, who has he loves people so much.
He does.
And when they don't love him back, he kind of will get in their own personal space and sometimes mean harm. Oh. And so this week we have struggled. We have come home on yellow twice and red once, and it is only Thursday. We had one green day in there somewhere.
Side note, there were no colors when I was a child.
Green.
We're all like green days, red days, purple days,
which I feel
blue.
also adds to the anxiety. My kid literally sits there because he knows if he comes home with yellow, I have to think of something to tell my mom, and my mommy's going to be upset with me.
I was either your name was written on the board or it wasn't. And if you got a check mark, that was serious.
You should see. I can tell.
For 20 years.
When Carter walks down the street from the bus, I can tell you what color he's on. Because it's the
I can
intense.
see him get off the bus while I'm waiting for Tommy.
Yeah,
I know
she's
what
a
color
couple
he's on.
doors down, and what's happening is he gets off that bus, and if it's yellow, he's going like this. But if it's red, his head is down because he's in a. I have to come home and tell my mom. And here's another big issue. So he got on red. Okay, so he got on yellow on Monday. And what the paper said to me, and you have to think, we're getting 1 or 2 lines from the teacher.
Yeah.
I understand they have several kids. They can't explain the story to me. Carter twisted the arms of 2 students at recess.
There needs to be more than 2 lines on that one.
Okay. When I
Because,
asked Carter what happened,
Yeah.
we have a special handshake, Mom. Like what I do for you, I go like this and I turn. Do I want to believe my 7-year-old? Yes. But do I know that he's rambunctious and that he might have got mad and twisted it a little more than he could? It puts Mom in a hard situation because now I have this anxiety-filled child. No, he shouldn't be doing this, but he said he did it just for a handshake, and did it get out of hand? And where do I go with punishing? How do I go about that? You know,
Yes.
and all of that, and add on all of the stress and all that. So with tying that with Lucy is she had said, the teachers aren't hearing it, or how did she work?
Not catching it yet.
The school's not catching it. Did the school catch? And this is a very much lighter note. Don't think that I am comparing twisting a kid's arm to anything suicide. But going with that thought is, my kid could have just been doing a handshake, or he could have really been twisting that kid's arm to hurt them.
Yep.
And why did I only get 2 sentences? Because if my child is on purpose twisting this child's arm, I want to know. I want a phone call. And I understand they have so many students to attend to, but I want a phone call. So if the school is not hearing this threat, and the school thinks, or if they're hearing a verbiage of it and thinking it's empty, I'm sorry. We live in a society. There is no more empty threats. There is no more he said, she said. I'm sorry. Everything needs to be checked into, because it's just a matter of seconds we're losing students.
Yeah. And I do understand like that the teachers have so many kids to be watching, and all the personnel have so many kids. But I think they can only do so much. But I would hope that if you're reporting these things, if you're finding out that these things are being said to your child, to your Olivia, that you would be able to report them to the school, and that then they would be handled seriously.
1, all teachers are mandate reporters. Like, we see,
Yeah.
hear anything, we are required by law to inform someone. Now, problem 1, you've reported it. What happens with it?
Mm-hmm. The ball gets dropped.
Yes, ball gets dropped. Or you get put in a place where I found something on a student, took them to the officer, tried to discreetly explain the situation, and then was reprimanded because I didn't point blank shout something out when I had a hallway full of middle schoolers and a hallway full of high schoolers. I got reprimanded because I wasn't verbal enough. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to induce panic on a 7th grader.
Yeah.
Not going to do it.
Right.
Sorry,
Or in the whole hallway of people.
Well,
and
and
it was a class
yeah.
change coming from lunch, and wasn't going to do it. And it's so hard because you're like, as a teacher, I want to help every kid. When I was teaching, I was constantly calling parents, being like, or emailing. If something happened in class that I thought was important that a parent knew, you better believe I was going to take care of, either write myself a note to do it during lunch, or to do it right then.
Yeah.
Because parents need to know what's going on. And so I love Class Dojo. If you don't know about it, it's an online app that does wonderful things. It allows the communication between the teacher and the parents in real time. So the day Tommy got a yellow this year, I immediately fired off a Class Dojo and said, so I noticed Tommy didn't have a sticker today. What happened? And she replied, and I actually knew the parent that was in the greenhouse when this all went down. And I texted her too and said, hey, what's your side of the story? She's like, he was fine. I'm like, okay, so 2 sides of the perspective, where you're like parent to teacher, like, and that's hard for me.
Yes.
As a parent, as a teacher, and especially as a sub, when I know so many of our kids going into a classroom, you're like, okay, I gotta find a line. Your daughter and I had this. I am now not Rita. I am Mrs. Kapazinski or Mrs. Cap.
My daughter was devastated when she came home and told. So
so
Rita has
devastated.
been my best friend since we were kids. We grew up in the neighborhood together.
Right.
Olivia's only known her as Rita. She comes
Yep.
home one day literally in tears.
No.
I'm no longer allowed to call Rita Rita, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're not at school.
Yep. So, I
So-
mean, it's a thing. Like, so you have to be able to communicate all of those things as you go. And with that suicide factor, you have to take everything, like you said, as a real-time threat. I don't care where you are in it. I don't care if you're not catching it. If you're being told it's something that's going on,
Yeah.
one as a parent, screenshot it. Like, that's going to be your first thing. Because if you have it as physical evidence, they can't deny it to you. They can't say, oh, well, we didn't catch it. It doesn't matter that you didn't catch it. It's happening. Here's your evidence. Take care of it.
Yeah.
And please don't tell me that it's something that's just fine, because it's not.
Or overreacting. That one's a good one too.
Yeah, true.
They're just overreacting. So 2 things I want to chime in on. Crystal, yes, tears if you're not on green. I get it. I also think Lucy just kind of, we must have took her her question a little far or differently, which I'm glad we did that in that sense. But she had said that another student had told her daughter that she needed to kill herself. So her daughter was being bullied in the sense of a threat. And when you are told that, you know, why didn't anybody respond? But then she said, when her daughter said a bad word, well, what I would consider a bad word, look in the comments. No kid at 11 should be saying that word.
Agreed.
When her daughter said that, sorry.
Sam and our family.
When her daughter said a bad word, she got a phone call home. And I'm going to be very careful with my words right now. Way I take that, I am not in the school. I'm a parent at home. If my kid says a bad word and you call me, thank you. Especially if it's my younger one. She's in 5th grade now. They're going to start coming, I'm sure. Please let me know, but I'm sure they'll come. But if you're going to call me because of that, if my daughter comes to you, or my son, anything comes to you and says that another person said to kill yourself, that needs to be taken with the same severity and
more severity.
That's what I meant. At least the same severity. At least a phone call. At the bare minimum. At least a phone call.
Like cuss words are only cuss words because we've made them.
That's what I said.
Words.
Like my 5th grader, you call me that she said something. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm sure she did. But
and you're gonna be like, hey, that's inappropriate, but it's not actually harming somebody.
Yep.
But kids that are young are so easily manipulated. And that's when words are not just words.
And where I wanted to go with that is why do you think, this is where I was going to be careful, why do you think a school did not take that seriously? Because when you do bring up something like that, or when you do find something in a backpack and you don't want to announce it to the entire school, is it because the school wants to take it lightly so it doesn't blow up to be a huge issue? Because if
social media,
if that happened in my school, in a school that my child attended, even if it wasn't my child, but I found out about it, you better believe I would be upset. So our school's kind of hiding something.
Yeah, and locally here we've had a lot of those issues. And I know that there's been some where something actually isn't a big deal. Like it actually is just words. It wasn't what it thought it was, but because parents got wind of it, they changed the story and it blew up social media.
And that happened.
Caused panic. Kind of like you in that hallway.
But
I don't want to cause panic.
But in my sense, I would rather, I know that schools don't agree the same way, but I would rather a little bit of panic occur than not enough panic when needed.
If we have to choose one or the other, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. It's one of those situations as an adult in that situation where I knew I was in control. The kid trusted me luckily enough that I was able to, like, he didn't realize, okay, I'm 5'1", I'm short. People didn't know that it was even me. Like, I'm in a hallway of high schoolers. They didn't realize it was Mrs. Cap. And at the time, he knew me as my maiden name. And he's like, hey, I'm Dot, what's up? And I'm like, hey, I need you to come walk with me. And so I knew I was okay. And I knew we didn't need to create a big scene. But then you get to that point where you're like, someone's telling my kid to go kill himself. One, it doesn't matter that it's been said. You take it as we need to have a counseling session. We need to have conversation. Now we're into mental health again. And we need to have something happen.
Yeah. Well, and I would say you didn't cause panic in the hallway, but that doesn't mean that who you're reporting it to didn't take the proper steps.
Right.
Like, the steps, I hope, were still taken.
Oh, yeah, I told the police officer.
Yes. So, I mean, those things are still handled without panic needing to be.
Right. And I can tell you, I think some of the thought process, too. So when my daughter told me about this girl cutting herself in the bathroom, I went straight to the principal and straight to the homeroom teacher because she has like 5 teachers, and I'm like, who do I go to? I can't write like a massive email to everybody.
Right.
And I then talked to a few parents, and one of the parents said to me, And I don't know whether this is true or not. I didn't do research. I don't care. I heard something. I reported it. And that's what I will always do.
Absolutely.
One of the
Good.
parents had said to me, you know what? Did your daughter see something? Because this girl has been known to make up stuff for attention. I don't care if she makes up stuff or she's known for it or not. If I ignore it this time, what about if it is real?
Okay, but let's talk about that. Why is she making
Why
it
is she
up
making it up?
to get the attention?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There in itself
Root
is
cause.
another problem. Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll go back to your mental health episode. Because obviously, if she is saying it for attention, either there's something seriously wrong, hardwired or not, or there's something going on at home. I mean,
Well, and that's the thing too is that teachers. So our whole home
cries for attention.
yeah.
Or
needs-
cries for attention.
Help
Exactly.
them.
Exactly.
And in some ways, I think that whole "you need to go kill yourself" is a cry for attention too. Because sometimes kids have say it to somebody else because they've had it said to them, or they're in a place where home life is so horrible. I want to see if I can get a rise out of somebody else because I need to get my spirits lifted. Not realizing that it's the worst possible way to do it, but they do it.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
So there is so much more we could go on this subject and talk about, and
Yeah.
For sure.
I feel like we need to have a couple follow-up episodes because there's things we didn't even get to tonight.
Yeah.
that
we
we
do have
could
one other
talk
question,
really well
which
about again.
is the victim doesn't have as many rights as the offender. I'm not really sure how she means that.
So I actually kind of have an idea. I think. of
Okay.
that.
You're not allowed to disclose. Okay.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
very true.
So, as a victim, a lot of times they get put in a place where they're isolated. Like they can't do anything about the fact that somebody's done something to them or something's going wrong, and the offender is suspended for 10 days and then shifted to another school. Well, they can't talk about what's happened. The victim is completely pushed off and has nothing. There is no support or recourse for themselves to get them in a better place. This other kid just got shipped to another school, and now
They get to start over.
They get to
They
start
get to
over.
start over.
I mean,
But
it has its own struggles.
It does.
Like, I don't want
It
to
does.
discount that, but
But
you're right.
you get into this place where you're like, great, now I have to deal with his best buddies who were part of it but didn't actually do anything, and now
Now
they're
might
going
You're
start.
still
to
the
start
victim.
it. So they're
Yeah.
still a victim, and there's just not enough that they can
Yeah.
that gets done for them, unfortunately.
You know what else? We didn't even talk about how social media makes this all worse.
Yep.
Social media makes everything worse.
It makes it all
really
worse.
does.
Especially, I'm not there quite yet.
Right.
My kids are the oldest one is just now being able to on his tablet, use Google Hangouts to message very specific people, and it's monitored, and he's only 9. So I haven't quite got there yet, but
Yeah.
the way I hope to approach it with my kids is always, it's not that I don't trust you, it's that I don't trust other people.
Absolutely.
And just the way that other people can come in and we as adults, come on. You've all witnessed or been part of a Facebook thread that went hairy and ugly and gross.
Yep.
And people will say things across the internet that
Oh,
they're
you'll
not
say
willing
anything on social media.
Yeah, that you're not willing to say face to face.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So it's just I'm gonna write. I have 4 episodes.
Well, and then with the social media.
Right.
So I remember being in
Social
5th grade.
media.
I grew up in Copley. I don't feel like I ever went without anything, but I remember being in 5th grade. I got my first pair of Adidas shoes. They were the white ones with the stripes,
three black stripes,
the 3
yeah.
black stripes, and I paid for them myself. And they were my first name brand pair of shoes, and I thought I was the coolest thing because everybody had them, right? And I remember constantly going home, going, Mom, everybody has name brand shoes, or everybody has this, and everybody has that. And my mom did an amazing job raising us and keeping us in Copley, but all of our clothes were Goodwill thrift stores. She would go on Wednesdays and go through all the racks to pick out name brand clothes so that we fit in, but they fit in her budget. But I remember that's what I was coming home to. Mom, everybody has these shoes. Now you know what everybody has?
A phone.
And it's not a joke. In 4th grade, I was the room mom. Olivia was one of 2 children that didn't have a cell phone. And we're not talking the cheap cell phone. We're talking these kids' phones were better than mine.
Yeah.
When the new Apple came out, they got the new Apple.
At my son's 9th birthday party, I witnessed his friend taking a selfie of them. I was like, my 9-year-old is taking a selfie right now. I don't even know how to handle this.
For sure.
And I used to be in the boat of like, you don't get a phone till you're driving. Then I was like, okay, you don't get a phone until high school. But now it's like, homes don't have landlines.
Nope.
Payphones aren't a thing.
Yeah.
So it's actually not safe for me to not give my kid a phone as soon as he's doing things where I'm not going to be there.
Yep.
Well, and
Activity.
this is,
Yep, I'm
and
with you on
that's
that.
the situation I'm in. So I agreed. Olivia was not getting a phone until she drove. Well, our entire world changed in September, and that made several times that, and I live right next door to my grandmother and my brother. So she wasn't here by herself, but she was here by herself. There were several times where I was always the parent, me or him, sat at soccer practice, sat at baseball practice. There was never a drop off your kid. One of us was there. That changed. I couldn't be 3 places at one time, so I got her a phone. Olivia got her phone in November with a huge set of rules. You know, I screened it. I watched the history. I did all of these things. And, like, she listens very well. She followed the rules, but all of her friends have Instagram. Why do her friends in 5th grade all have Facebook, Instagram, all these accounts? And so then I found myself going, Olivia, I'm sorry the situation we're in, that I had to give you something that I need you to have, but you can't do any of this on it. Like, this is all not okay. And so then I had her going, I got something but now I can't. Like, there are still a ton of arguments with the phone because I'm very strict with what she has on it, who's on it, and all of those things. But then they're sitting at church all taking selfies and all sending messages, and I'm sorry, no, not an option. I'm not willing to budge on this.
So, like, I subbed in a 6th grade classroom, and we're getting it's 3:05, getting ready for them to get on the bus, and every single kid had their headphones and their phone out, and I'm like, you have a nicer phone than I do.
Yeah,
You've got a nicer phone than I do.
and the headphones, they got like cordless, the Apple cordless headphones, and I'm like, right. My wish list for like a year.
Well, it's because any bit of money that they make is all for them.
Yep.
They're the richest.
Is that really
population.
it? Or
Is it compensation?
can I, hold on 1 second, producer, is that really it? Because I can tell you most of the 5th and 6th graders that my kids know are not working, but their parents are like this. And they're busy. And when you're doing this and you've got a kid constantly talking, it's so much easier to go, here you go.
Have a good day.
Babysitters. We used to call the TV a babysitter. This is a mobile babysitter.
My girls
Man.
both have flip phones and they hate me.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm honestly, my 4-year-old and my 2.5-year-old think they're the greatest things ever because they've got keyboards and they actually have like keys.
Yeah.
Not that there's batteries in them, but they don't care. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was a very full episode tonight in the sense that I literally wrote down 3 future episodes we're going to have. So we'll be doing those in July.
Thanks for helping us plan.
Yeah, thanks for
thank
helping
you.
us plan because we
So-
do have the next couple weeks planned. In fact, next week, you guys, is very exciting. So
Amy is so excited about this.
I'm excited for 2 reasons. One, it's about let's start. It's about The Bachelor and Bachelorette reality TV show. We did a poll on our page. If you don't follow us on Facebook, go do that. We did a poll a while back, and 75% of you hate the show. I'm of the 25% that love the show. And loves, I mean, it's a relatively strong word, but I'm just going to use it for sake of
Oh no,
content.
I
I love the show.
love and
Like,
obsessed.
I don't miss it. Yeah, I love it.
Oh my.
Now, also, so I'm excited for the show because I've got a hard battle to win with you all.
Well, and can I
You're
like,
gonna have
you
to
know,
persuade me.
I'm the one that does the disclaimer and the inserts. This show is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
We're gonna have a great time discussing it. But kind of to stay true to our show, we're gonna go over the topics on how it does affect women.
Yeah.
On both views. Like, there's gonna be some substance in this show. We're not
there'll
watching.
be substance, but it's also gonna be really funny. And
Her dog was on this week.
my dog was on this week, and next week my husband's gonna join us.
Oh, boy.
And I'm really excited. I'm excited because it's the first man we're letting come on the show, so we're like breaking protocol.
And we're letting him on to talk about The Bachelorette.
Yes.
Oh,
And
this is gonna be hysterical. I'm gonna tune in just for that factor right there.
exactly. He is a fan of the show, and the reason that this all came up that he was gonna be on the show. So first of all, I might come off as like I have opinions sometimes, but like when he's got an opinion, he's got an opinion, and so
he likes
like
to share it.
and he likes to share it, and he literally called The Bachelorette the other day his show,
He did.
and I was just so proud.
Wow.
So he's gonna be on it, and he's got thoughts, and so we're excited. It's gonna be something a little bit different, a little spicy. We hope you guys will join in.
It looks like it's gonna be a
It's
good
going to
one.
be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
And we'll have another guest here, Bethany, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Bethany, who was on our show for kids.
Activities
For
Vacation.
kids.
So she is less of a fan of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, which is exactly what we're looking for. Someone who's like, I don't watch it. It's a waste of my life. And why?
And I will watch it if it's on, but I don't schedule
Danielle's
my
being
week.
nice. She loves it too.
I don't schedule my week around.
I do
Actually,
schedule my week
if
around
you'd
it.
like to know what I do, because I try to keep up with Amy, I wait until it's almost over, and then you can get it on Hulu. And I order a subscription of Hulu for 2 months, and then I binge watch it so that I know what she's talking about. So I don't mind watching it, but it's more on a. We talked about social media and peer pressure. There's mine.
There we go. So next week is going to be fun, and then it's going to kind of also just tip into a little show spree of topics that are all very similar.
Yeah.
There might be some Disney princesses conversation after that, and then getting a little more serious with body image. So we are excited to have these conversations.
We like to have fun first and serious after. So
yes,
bear with us through the next few shows.
Yeah. No,
Have
bear
fun
with
with
us.
us.
It's gonna be a really funny time.
It is.
I'm gonna bring my A game. Just wait.
Oh my. Or is
You're
it
going to
B
see
game
a
for Bachelor?
whole new
B
Amy.
game. No, my A batch.
You're bringing your
B
A
game.
and your B game because he's going to be on too.
Because Andrew, he's my A game. Bachelor, my B game.
There you go.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. On that note, so hope that you guys took away some from this conversation. We are definitely going to be continuing this conversation. Please, as you're on the rewatch, drop comments. We do read those. We do revisit. If you send us a private message, we do read them and get back to you. So we want to hear from you. This sparked quite a bit of topics for us on additional shows. But if it brought up anything for you, we are always looking for show topics. So just let us know what's on your mind. We'll see you next week. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
Bye, guys.